Uh, yeah. Hello. Yeah. Divya, can you also switch on your camera?
Am I audible now? Oh, am I visible now? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Ishan, you're visible now. Yeah.
Perfect.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah. Anirban, you are audible. Yeah. Thanks. Cool. So I think we are live now. So thanks to everyone who joined. We are the Media and PR committee from IIM Indore, and we are hosting this session primarily to address your concerns regarding the the procedure, and the interview experiences that all of us have had while joining IIM Indore. So I have a few panelists here who are of various backgrounds. So we'll go one by one and get them to talk about how they prepared for the WAT-PI round for IIM Indore, and also their interview experience. So feel free to ask any query to any of them, or a general query as well. We'll address that towards the end. So we'll start from Anirban. Can you start?
Yes, sure. I can start, Navneet. So I think that after the CAT results, I was fairly sure of getting an Indore call. And I think it was the third or fourth call that I received in the list of calls. And when that call started, and they initially used to give out, Indore has a typical form that you need to fill, which I think consists of the basic information regarding your education, then addresses and work ex, if any, and also two major questions like what are your hobbies, what and accomplishments, and any other like achievements that you have made in life. And the second is that why you would want to pursue an MBA right now. So basically what we had to do is like, what I first is like jotted down several of the ideas and the points that I've covered throughout my entire life, and then gradually gave it a structure one by one in consultation with the mentors that I have had during that period.
Just a
Also,
second, Anirban, just give a background of your UG and education work
okay,
as well, so
okay.
they have a little more context. So yeah.
So I am from Kolkata, and I have had a chemical engineering degree from the Heritage Institute of Technology in the city itself. After that, I have had about 19 months of work ex at the Tata Consultancy Services. So basically, since I had a switch from the chemical stream to the IT stream, I had to also like prepare both the sides from the chemical subjects, 2 or 3 subjects in my UG, as well as I had to stay aware of the latest trends in the IT world, like the industry 4.0, blockchains, and the clouds adoption that was really like going big that time. And also apart from that, like I had to prepare for the basic current affairs questions. Like I think I prepared for a few on the trade agreements between Australia and India that were happening at that time, or India, and also I think the United Arab Emirates had a trade at that time. And also I think that there was a compendium given, a compendium that are rather organized, where the basics of marketing, the basics of finance, like the 4 Ps, or the what is debt, what is liability, all those were mentioned, and I just used to glance through those. And I was coming for my interview was scheduled in the mid of February. I think most probably it was 18th of February. And at that time, Indore, it was at evening around 5 p.m. And it was a very, I would not say a very short, but a short interview, about 10 to 12 minutes. So what they first asked me was, tell me about yourself. After which they proceeded to say that whether I could answer a few questions. And when they asked me that why people could survive in igloos despite it being made of ice. And after that, they asked me a puzzle, which I couldn't really understand at that time. And I just gave them like trial and error approach to that. And the second panelist, she asked me an extempore on why Brexit and how would you rate Brexit and why. And also she asked me about my co-curriculars. So that was a very brief interview. And like after that, I was shortlisted in the first list itself. So I would say that if you are preparing for IIM Indore, if you have got a call from IIM Indore, be very thorough with your basics. And also if you are an UG, if you are a fresher right out, you should definitely focus on your academics, because Indore is very academically rigorous and it will stress you on that. And if you are if you have work ex, then the threat of you being asked from the UG or the academics is minimized. I'm not saying it is eliminated, it is minimized. And then it becomes very important that you know your work ex absolutely point by point. That is everything I have to say.
Yeah, thank you, Anirban. I think I also have a similar profile, and people who have engineering degrees after which they go into work experience. It's important to prepare both the UG academic subjects as well as your work experience related industry and your company and your role. So both these are, I mean, you never know what is asked. So like for Anirban, it was slightly more academic. For me, it was a mix of both. So I had my 2 years of work experience at PwC, before which I did my engineering. And I was asked on my favorite subject. I had to prepare a few subjects. I had prepared a few subjects, and it was I think half the interview was based on just a couple of subjects, and the conversation went around that. Following which, there was also a few questions on my work experience. So I think it's equally important to prepare both if you are if you're a person with work experience. Okay, now
I just want to add one more point that I missed out. That Indore often asks you mathematical questions, so be prepared on that. Like they, I think, asked me some graphs on x plus mod x or something like that. So be prepared on those fronts as well.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, now let's go to Divya. Divya is a fresher and she's an engineering fresher. And yeah, let's hear from her. You can just give a short intro and then start off.
Yeah, so I'm an engineering graduate and I have civil engineering, but I had a minors in computer science. So I done a couple of internships, and that was my basic profile. So while preparing for the mock PI or the actual interviews of various other IIMs, I categorized the preparation into various segments, as in getting the input from other people and the people who are expert in this. I got to know that there are many segments into which the questions are often asked. So first of all, there's this thing about your personal life, as in where you're from, what's your name. So these basic things, even which city are you from, you need to be very thorough with each and everything. What your name means, which city are you from, do you even know what your city is known for? I mean, since I am from Agra, so for me, Taj Mahal or the basics of the industry of Petha. So these certain things which only you know about the city that you live in. So this is something, if you know, if you're thorough with these aspects, it has a very positive impression on the interviewers, because they realize that you are someone who is considerate, who actually looks at the world and actually makes some opinions and points on your own. So apart from this, the other bucket is the HR questions. So HR questions are the classic questions asked in each and every interview, as of why do you want to do an MBA? Why do you, if you're a fresher, why do you want to do MBA now? Not why not after a work experience? And if you have if you have some work experience, they would ask, why do you want to do an MBA now? If you have, you could continue the same work. So these are the basic HR questions, like why exactly they want to know your intent of joining the MBA college. Is it right or not? Either is it for you to get a better placements, or you want to actually learn something. So the advice I would give to all the people who are actually preparing is that focus on the learning aspect, because in an MBA curriculum, even though for most of us it's mostly about placements, but at the same time what you learn is a crucial aspect of your MBA journey. And this is something which you realize later, that these are so many things that you are learning on the way. So focus on that. Apart from that, there's one more thing which interviewers emphasize on is, if you even know the institute that you are sitting an interview for. I mean, if you know, like for Indore, when it was established, what are the basic, why is it famous for? Like some basic things like who actually was the architect of the building, something or the other you should know about the institute. It should not be like you sitting for an interview just blank, you don't know what you're interviewing for. Now, the fourth bucket, that would be like current affairs. So the recent happenings of the past 1 or 2 months should be very thorough with it. You should apart from knowing actually what's happening, you should have an opinion on the same, because they look for the originality. Anybody can read a news and just state the facts, but you should be someone who can absorb the facts, understand them, and have your own opinion around them. So this is something which becomes very imperative and had a very positive impact. If they ask you, like, let's say in our time, Russia and Ukraine war was something which was majorly happening in the world, and geopolitical news. So it's not just stating the facts. You actually know what's going around, what could be its possibly impact on the trade, why India is doing the certain way, why Ukraine is doing what. So you should know all those things. Now, the fifth aspect that I would mention is academics. If you are someone who doesn't have a work experience, it becomes very, very important for you to be thorough with the academics, because they actually want to know, like, if you're an engineer, if you spend 4 years of your life in doing something, and there's nothing, no positive impact is there of you getting out of it, then it doesn't give a very good impression. So just focus on one or two subjects which you like of your undergrad, and just be thorough with it. Like, if they ask you any question on it, you should be able to answer it. So be thorough with your academics, even though if it's one or two subjects only. Now, the sixth thing is maths. Some institutes like IIM Indore, IIM Calcutta, they are very math focused. They would ask you, like, to draw a graph or to do a derivative. So these are some basic things. If you're well prepared for it, then it will be very easy for you to showcase what you have learned in an interview. Even in impromptu, you might be very good at maths, but it becomes important for you to actually prepare for it, so that it doesn't ease while giving the interview. So you should be thorough with some concepts of maths. Now, my final advice to all the people who are actually preparing for the interview is that be calm, comfortable, and just do some mock PIs, because more often than not, when we are like straight out of engineering college or our undergrad, we don't have that certain sense of how to talk to people who are strangers, because in an interview setting, and you have those 15 or 30 minutes to actually tell someone about your life journey, and it doesn't comes very easy to most of us. So you should be like very comfortable with yourself. You should believe the story and you are telling to those strangers. So give a lot of mock PIs, be comfortable with talking to strangers, or them asking about the crucial moments in your life. So this is something which will come through practice only. And I mean, you might be very good at communication skills and everything, but this is something, if you put a little emphasis on it, it will work like wonders for you. I think that would be my advice for everyone.
Divya, can you also share your interview experience for another?
Sure. So my interview experience was like very, very good. They first asked me about my profile, like, tell me about yourself. And then there were some questions about my undergrad, like I had done civil engineering. So there were some questions on the foundation of Taj Mahal, which was very interesting. And I actually prepared for it. So it was quite easy for me to tackle those questions. Then I had an extempore wherein they gave me a topic. For about 30 seconds, I had to think, and then for around 1.5 minutes, I had to speak on it. So there was that. Then there was one maths question which they asked about deriving something, and that was that.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Divya. Now let's move to Shishir. So just to give a little background, Shishir also is an engineer, but after 1 year of work at Cisco, he took a sabbatical. So there might be a lot of you who have taken breaks professionally or after academic years. So I think he'll really be able to add value to how you can prep with, keeping that gap in mind, and how you can justify that gap in an interview. So yeah, over to Shishir.
Yeah, thank you, Navneet, for the brief background. Yeah, so just to elaborate on that, I am from Belgaum, Karnataka, and I did my engineering in electronics and communication from RV College of Engineering, Bangalore, and post that I worked in Cisco as a network consulting engineer. After that, I prepared for the UPSC Civil Services examination for about 3 to 4 years, and yeah, post that CAT 2020 was the one where I gave my CAT. So you have to be very thorough in whatever subjects you've studied, be it your UG, be it your work experience, and be it the UPSC prep. Now, as far as my interview experience is concerned, so my interview was mainly structured with this. So there was an introduction, then there were questions around my introduction. So there are certain hooks in your introduction which the interviewers pick up, be it the place you're from, be it your college, be it your hobbies. So you can design your introduction in such a manner that these hooks are evident, so that you can drive the interview in such a direction if you're lucky. Then after that, there were some technical questions, again, based on my engineering branch as well as my work experience, which happened to be computer networks. So even though it was 4 years earlier, there was a 4 years gap between my engineering and the time when the interview was happening, there was still a lot of questions, conceptual questions about electronics and communications that were asked. So you have to be very thorough on that. And post the technical questions, there were extempore. There was an extempore. So extempore can be on any current issue, current affairs issue that is going on. During my time, there were farm laws and a few other things that were going on. And I actually was asked on a social issue about women's empowerment. And you can also be asked about technological developments. And in extempore, it is very important. Like, three things are very important. One is structure, then the relevant content, and you need to wrap it up in time. This is very important. So I was not so great as far as time management is concerned, but I ensured that the structure was maintained. And please emphasize that whatever answers you give is following a structure, because that is something professors do look for. And post that, there are discussions on current affairs. There are some general knowledge questions. During my in the introduction itself, I was very like in my hobbies, I had mentioned that I am interested in politics. So fortunately, the profs wanted to discuss about it, and that discussion went pretty well. And yeah, post that, the last segment would be, the panel might ask you, and this is not necessary, but they can ask you whether you have any question to them. So if you do enough research about any institute or MBA, you might have a question or two. For example, like, how would students manage time during MBAs? So certain things like this you can ask, but again, ask a question only if you genuinely have a question. Otherwise, it's better to pass it on. So yeah, so this is just a brief run through of my interview. As far as the gap is concerned, so just like 5 days before my IIM Indore interview, I had interview at SPJIMR, where during my introduction, I hadn't mentioned about my UPSC preparation and the gap. And but later, when it came up during in the middle of the interview, it was pretty awkward. Then even they were confused, like how to go about the interview. So then I sort of prepared an introduction in such a manner that I put it upfront that I had taken a gap to prepare for the civil services. And I had put it up in such a manner that there's something I had planned for, like I would give 3 attempts. Post that, I had already decided that I would prepare, I would do an MBA. And once my third attempt was done, so since this was my plan, I would wanted to do an MBA. Now, like you should not put it crudely that this is a plan B. You should show it as though it was a natural progression that was happening. And also, I put it up in such a manner that I wanted to help people solve problems. And like, it's not just UPSC, but even MBA is a way to help people solve problems. So this is just another means to the end you want to achieve. So you should ensure that there is a sense of coherence in whatever career paths you've chosen until that interview. So that is extremely important. And yeah, do go through the IIM Indore website, do go through their vision, mission, and to be aware of why you want to do MBA and which career path you want to choose. Now, you need not be very specific. Like, you can be pretty open about it. You can tell you are coming in with an open mind, but do have some idea. For instance, I had said that I see a career in consulting. Now, then you can, if you have some idea about the career you have in mind, then you can link it to your why MBA answer as well, and it can link to your why your introduction answer as well. So then these all three answers reinforce each other. And also, as I said, like, I am in those vision, mission. If you are aware about it, then you can frame your answers with that in the back of your mind. And also, lastly, as Divya had mentioned, now emphasize that like just you should show that you are here to learn. I've seen whenever I've taken a few mock interviews that uh, people have said that they are here for because they want to switch streams or they want to have a better placement. Now, uh, don't like I understand a lot of us have that as the intent, but please ensure that like you it should come up as though you are here to learn. Uh, you are focused on academics, and of course, like you need to prepare your whatever academic background you have. You need to be very thorough about it as well. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so thanks, Shishir. Again, one thing that you probably see as a common thread across the three, experiences so far was the why MBA question, right? So it's one of those questions that you really need to have a very detailed answer to, because as far as I know, a lot of participants for PGP and PGP HRM, this question is really important. So make sure that you have some story or some kind of a something that is not generic and something that they can connect you to, so have that unique reason. It can be a generic reason, but try to tie it in with your work or your background and or your aspirations. So that I think it's something that it's almost a deal breaker in an interview. So YMBA is definitely something that you really need to actively work on. Yeah. Next we'll talk
Navneet,
to
sorry to interrupt. Just to add one more point. So,
sure, sure.
my CAT percentile was 96.21, and IIM Indore was the only old IIM call I had. And
Yeah.
what I just want to tell is, if you do your interviews very well, like I got through in the first list itself. So interviews like your CAT score can get you till the interview seat, but post that, the way you do your interview, you can overcome whatever problems you've had in your CAT score.
Sure. Anirban, you want to talk? Yeah.
Yes, I just
Yeah.
wanted to add one thing is that
Sure.
whatever the experiences you have, whatever the academic performances or other accomplishments that you have, try and weave it into a story, because there may be several generic answers available on the net, and people may be quoting them time and again to the panelists, so they may get tired of that. But if you are able to weave your own story, then that becomes a very differentiating factor that will ultimately help in your final selection, because your story cannot be replicated by someone else. So that is very important, weaving a story around the events and happenings in your life.
Yeah, that's especially the tell me about yourself and the YMBA questions can really be woven into a story. That's a really good point, actually. Okay, next, Ishan. Ishan is a BCom fresher and he did his graduation from Delhi. Yeah, Ishan, you can take over.
Hello. Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah, Ishan, you can go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Navneet. So yeah, about myself, I'm a BCom graduate from the Kirorimal College, University of Delhi. I completed my BCom in 2022 and just joined IIM Indore. My IIM Indore preparation was a bit hectic because on the like before few days the budget has came, and there was farm laws also going on, and there was one more like Russia Ukraine war was also going on, and even there are multiple geopolitical effects, geopolitical news which was flown flowing there. um, for example, UP's election was also there, and these kind of uh, newses were there. But my before my introduction, like because I belong from a PWD category, so my interview has been started in a very different way. As soon as I enter into the interview room, they started with my disability. Like they didn't ask for any profile and all. So, and like before this, I have given the interview of IIM Core as well, and the same thing happened. So I was a bit prepared about it. Um, then we started, and then they talked about my startup, and then they went on to the political interest and all. But in my extemper, it was like it was not so good, but like I included few points. Like my extemper point was like Narendra Modi, and I included a few points about his campaigning and how Modi's publish like how he's managing the PR and all stuff. So after the interview, I felt that it was a fine attempt, but uh, like it was not that like not good according to me. Like if I compare with other interviews. Also, in the end, when I was about to leave the interview room, they asked me if I want to pursue the I am like PGP HRM as well, and I say yes. Then like they just started questioning me again why you want to do HRM and all. So like it's like, and even my interview went for around 45 minutes. It was, I guess, the longest interview in this panel. So we have discussed a lot of stuff. And at some point of time, I was not very confident about it. And at some point of time, I told them that I know the answer. I don't know the answer. See, like what I recommend is, if you don't know the answer of any question, straight away say no. Don't try to fool them, because they are taking lots and lots of interview uh, before you and after you. So what my advice is, you don't try to fool them, because they are much smarter than you. So if we try to act smart, they will be, more smarter than us. So uh, that's what my advice is. And please, like before, like after 2 3 days, budget is also coming. So please go thoroughly to the budget. And if you have any sort of thing which you can mention, like as Shaswat said, that he has some hooks in his interview. My hook was my startup, and the accessibility certification courses which I have done from the like international universities and all. So that was a hook for them. Even before joining IIM Indore, I pre-visited IIM Indore for a visit, and they asked me about the accessibility of IIM Indore campus and all. So they asked me to tell about that as well. So it was like my experience was like that. So yeah. So if you
Yeah,
know,
Ishan, thank you.
yeah.
I just want to, if you can also just highlight, from a BCom perspective, what are the, how you went about preparing for the BCom, how you prepare your UG and everything.
Yeah. So basically for the UG part, they asked me like, okay, so for UG you may took upon some basic concepts of accounting as well, because it's a very basic, and when you join IIM Indore, so you have to encounter for that as well. So take some basic concepts of accounting, and take some concepts from marketing, entrepreneurship, or like subjects you like, because mine interview was not related to maths, and they didn't ask me that much academic questions as well. But they asked one or two, and it was related to marketing only. So yeah, so I prepared for like basic concepts of marketing, or make a sticky notes out there, like take sticky notes of uh, note points. For example, 4 P's of marketing, and entrepreneurship theory. And yeah, also they asked me about the Shark Tank like Shark Tank as well, because my background is related to entrepreneurship. So, and even I mentioned entrepreneurship as my favorite subject. So they ask about Shark Tank from me. So you may take these things as well into consideration.
Oh, great. Yeah. So again, one point that I thought can be noted here is how there will be questions that you probably don't know. There is never a possibility that every question, you definitely need to prepare as much as possible, but there's always the possibility that a question veers into a territory that you're not very comfortable with. For me personally, if I talk about my interview experience, I was a mechanical engineer, so at some point the conversation veered towards automobile industry, and so they asked me about what my favorite company was and why it was so and so. I had some answers for that. But following that, they, asked me about the market size, market share and market size of this particular company that I mentioned. And this was not something that I really had in my fingertips, right? So these are things that I just gave them a rough, maybe a ballpark figure, but I also accepted that it was not something that I'm very aware of. So I think that honesty helps. It's good to not try to play smart when it comes to things that you're not clear about. it's always good to be upfront and say that, and always show a learning attitude. I think this has also helped me. Whenever something doesn't go my way, I try to just show them that, post the interview, I'll definitely look this up, or this is something that that sounds interesting, so I'll definitely look it up. So that learning attitude is something that, it gives you some brownie points over someone who, again, does not know that answer probably. So
Navneet, I
that.
want to add one
Sure,
more
sure.
point
Yeah,
to
please add.
yeah. So basically, one more thing. If you are in a startup, if you are owning your like having your own startup, so please go through the whole industry in which your startup is like your startup is in. For example, my industry is edtech. So they asked me some questions related to Byju's and why it is failing, and Unacademy and other platforms as well. And at some point of time I was not very comfortable because I was not expecting these kind of questions. And if you have some questions and um, if you have some answers and they are negative about some company or some person or about your previous boss as well, so don't try to show your negativity, because they might it might impact very badly on your interview. So yeah, it was all. And please take notes from the previous interviews as well, because my I'm in the interview was one of the last interviews I have given. So yeah, Navneet, you can take up.
Yeah, hello. Uh, Hello. Yeah, can you guys give me a thumbs up if it's audible?
Yeah, you can hear.
Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, I think we've had a basic overview of our prep, how we went about it. Shruti, do you want to add something from yourself?
So I was just going to say that some of y'all are freshers. So me being a fresher myself, one of the questions that came up was why did you start your career after your undergrad is over, and why not? Why didn't you pursue engineering? So there were multiple reasons. So mine was that I wanted to explore my favorite subject before really getting into the into a corporate. So and the answer to that question really helps. And also, if you do have a professional certification, it's really important to know have an in-depth knowledge of what you studied in that qualification, because that is something that they do catch on to and sort of try to grill you on, apart from your undergrad itself.
Yeah. I think if anyone wants to add anything, please, you can go ahead. I think we can.
Yes, I just want to add, but it's a very few like external factors, like keep yourself healthy, keep yourself fit, and keep your mood in a very light manner, because those are what affects your interview. And also, if you are feeling, and also I would recommend you that you dress the way you want. I mean, in that too, in a formal sense, you put on your best shirt, put on your best tie, put on your best combo, so that you feel confident enough, and always keep smiling while giving the answers, because that helps. Sometimes the interviewer may press you, may try to test your strengths, but don't yield to them. Just take some time, ask them for a few seconds, maybe have a sip of water, and keep standing your ground. So I think that would also go a long way in helping you convert the final call. And that is all I have to add.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can come, let us know. Meanwhile, I'll just like to give a little bit of interface about media and PR committee. So we'll be the committee that handles the incoming batch, the admission queries of the incoming batch for both for PGP, and there's also similar committee for HRMS, PGP, HRM as well. So we would be creating a page on Pagal Guy this week for everyone who's received a call. Please do follow that page. We will be posting updates whenever with regards to the PI and the post PI process. So the PIs, as you probably are aware, the calls are out. You can check your status in the website. You can just check for using your admission number. You can search and see the status. There is also a similar link where after the PIs are done, you can
Did Navneet drop off?
I'll just check in on him. Just a minute.
So yeah, I think that was it from our side. I just want to say that IIM Indore is a great place to be. If you are, considering it for your admissions, I think all of us here can vouch for. I think we should just end with this. All of us is saying one thing about IIM Indore that you really liked, as in your learning journey. So all of you can just give maybe one line and we can wrap it up. Shishir, should I know?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So yeah, one thing is you'll meet a lot of I'd say epic people, epic in their own fields, and I've found some of the most efficient people over here, and some of the most creative ones as well. So it's a great atmosphere. Uh, it'll be a fun learning experience. The first term was of course very hectic, but yeah, it prepares you for the better, and yeah, I'm looking forward to uh, like many more. I mean, all the best to other juniors as well.
Yeah, Anirban, yeah.
So I think I actually would like to mention two great things about the institute, and that is in the second year there are a lot of electives that you could choose from. And like if you want to specialize in marketing, you could choose an ample lot of marketing electives or finance and stuff. And also, I think one thing that encourages wonderfully is that I think we have an entrepreneurship program wherein if you in the second year opt for the entrepreneurship program, then I think half of the credits of your entire course that would be judged based on how you are able to tackle your own business. So that I think is a wonderful initiative that the institute has taken to promote entrepreneurship in the campus and in the country overall. So these are the two things that I would like to add.
Yeah, Divya.
Sure. So, irrespective of the institute that you will be joining, I think that one of the very preconceived notions that we have about an MBA is that they would be just be like which will get a good placement and all, and we forget that the 2 years which we will spend in any institute. So, being the part of this journey, I can tell you that the learning that you will derive from these 2 years is immense. Like moreover than not, many people focus on the placements and all, but when you are in the journey, you realize that there's so many things that you're learning, not about one particular field, about so many different fields. Being someone from engineering background who has no finance knowledge whatsoever, from when I came here, now I can actually read balance sheet. This is something very basic, but at the same time gives me immense pride that this is something which I've learned in only just 2 terms of being part of this curriculum. So irrespective of the institute you will join, you will have a great time. You will make a lot of new friends. You will make a lot of connections for your lifetime, and you will just learn a lot. So irrespective of your like speculations you have in mind whether I should go for it or not, how it would be, I can promise you that it would be great. If you come to IIM Indore, then we will welcome you as our juniors, and it would be a great experience.
Thank you. Ishan?
Yeah. So basically, what I feel is that I am Indore connects you to the roots and also teach you how to be professional. There's a very important, like very innovative program in our institute, which is Rural Engagement Program, which actually encourage you, which actually it's a mandatory program, and you have to stay for a week in a small village. The village where we stayed was a very small, like it doesn't have basic amenities for their people. But you know, when you stay over there, you learn actually how government schemes reach to the people, how they live, how they, how their surroundings are. Like for person like me who never went to a village, um, you know, uh, this kind of program is very appreciative. So yeah, that's what I feel about this. And yeah, apart from academics and other things, there are, there are lots and lots of sports facilities. There's a big swimming pool over there. There's a very big sports complex, a huge gym, basketball, tennis court, and cricket stadium. Lots and lots of things. Like, if you enjoy a 2 years journey, I promise you, you'll never miss your 18 months, or like, let's say 2 years, which actually going to be, stay here. So yeah, like, once I'm in the students, always I am in the student. So
Yeah, I think that's well put. I think they've covered most of it, but I'll just like to add that like Ishan mentioned, there's a rural engagement program. We also have foreign exchange programs, and then there's also an extreme outdoors program where a Himalayan summit happens. So all these are programs that help you explore unexplored territories. And I think these, while we have a very robust academic program, in class program, I'm also talking about these to highlight that learning not just happens within classrooms. It happens in your in our student council committees and clubs. It happens in these kind of expeditions or trips. It happens in just interacting with the smartest minds of the country and smart professors. I mean, it's just, I mean, you get the I think we've covered most of what really excites us about life at IIM Indore. So really hoping to get to receive you all. We won't be. I think we are PGP too, but I think Divya, Ishan, and Anirban will be here to say hi to you guys, and hoping you guys have a great PI experience. And yeah, we'll see you soon at IIM Indore. Thank you.